Those who witnessed the scene were awestruck. A politician, a leader of a nation, actually displayed his emotions. He confessed, not with words, but with a powerful physical gesture, to a collective guilt. He begged silently for forgiveness. With his head bowed low, he froze in this position. 20 seconds. Perhaps 30. An eternity in the charged atmosphere of that December day, I have been often asked. Willy Brandt would later write in his memoirs what the gesture was all about. Was it planned? No, it wasn't. He continued. As I stood on the edge of Germany's historical abyss, feeling the burden of millions of murders, I did what people do when words fail. The date was December 7, 1970. The location, Warsaw in the then Communist People's Republic of Poland. Brandt, the Chancellor of West Germany, was visiting a monument to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. This uprising, a desperate act of resistance by Jewish fighters trapped in the Warsaw Ghetto during World War II, held immense symbolic weight. It represented the fight against tyranny, the courage of the oppressed, and the horrors inflicted by the Nazi regime after the formal laying of a wreath. Brandt, very surprisingly and to all appearances spontaneously, knelt. He remained silently in that position for a short time, surrounded by a large group of dignitaries and press photographers. The cameras clicked, capturing an image that would become iconic. But the true impact of the moment resonated far beyond the reach of any lens. On that same day, Brandt signed the Treaty of Warsaw. This treaty formally acknowledged the Oder-Neisse line as the permanent border between Germany and Poland. This acceptance of territorial changes resulting from the war, previously a point of significant contention, was a cornerstone of Brandt's Ostpolitik, or Eastern policy. This policy aimed to normalize relations with Eastern European countries, including the German Democratic Republic, or East Germany. Both the Kniefall, as it became known, and the treaty sparked controversy within West Germany. Ostpolitik itself, while ultimately lauded as a groundbreaking approach to international relations, was favored only by a narrow majority of public opinion at the time. Within Brandt's own Social Democratic Party, the policy was particularly contentious. A significant proportion of the party's voters were expellees from former German territories that were now part of Poland. Many of these expellees felt betrayed by Brandt's concessions and subsequently shifted their support to conservative parties. The political landscape of West Germany was undergoing a seismic shift, driven by the ripples of Brandt's actions in Warsaw. The weight of history pressed heavily upon Willy Brandt that December day. He carried the burden of a nation grappling with its past. A past stained by the unspeakable horrors of the Holocaust. Standing before the monument to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, he faced not only the physical remnants of destruction, but also the enduring emotional scars. He confronted the ghosts of those who had perished, the victims of a genocide perpetrated in the name of his people. His gesture, the Kniefall, was not calculated political maneuvering. It was a visceral response. An outpouring of emotion too profound for words. I did what people do when words fail, he later reflected. And in that moment of profound silence, a new dialogue began. A dialogue not of political rhetoric, but of human empathy and shared sorrow. The controversy that erupted in Germany following Brandt's actions underscored the deep divisions within the country. Many, particularly those who had lost their homes and families in the former Eastern territories, felt that Brandt had betrayed them. They clung to the hope of reclaiming these lands. A hope that Brandt's Ostpolitik seemed to extinguish. They saw the Kniefall not as an act of reconciliation, but as a sign of capitulation. Their pain was real, and their anger understandable, However, for others, Brandt's actions represented a crucial step towards healing and a future free from the shadows of the past. They recognized the importance of accepting responsibility for the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime. They understood that true reconciliation required acknowledging the suffering of others and seeking forgiveness. Brandt's gesture, in their eyes, embodied this recognition. This willingness to confront the past, however painful, the Treaty of Warsaw, signed on that same day, cemented the geopolitical reality of post-war Europe. The Oder-Neisse line, a border drawn in the aftermath of the war, was now formally recognized by West Germany. This acceptance of territorial changes, while controversial, was a necessary precondition for establishing stable relationships with Eastern European nations. It signaled a shift away from the irredentist claims that had fueled tensions for decades. It was a pragmatic step towards a more peaceful future. Brandt's Ostpolitik, though initially met with resistance, ultimately laid the foundation for improved relations between East and West. It was a long and complex process, fraught with political challenges and emotional baggage. Yet, it ultimately contributed to the eventual reunification of Germany. A reunification that would have been unthinkable without the courageous steps taken by Brandt in Warsaw on that December day in 1970. The image of Willy Brandt kneeling before the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising Memorial resonated far beyond the borders of Germany and Poland. It became a symbol of reconciliation, a powerful testament to the possibility of healing even the deepest wounds of history. In a world still divided by Cold War tensions, Brandt's gesture transcended political ideology and spoke directly to the shared human experience of grief, remorse, and the yearning for peace throughout the decades that followed. The Kniefall continued to be debated and interpreted. Some argued that it was a purely symbolic act, a gesture without real political substance. Others criticized it as a show of excessive contrition, an unwarranted humiliation of the German nation. But for many, especially in Poland and other countries that had suffered under Nazi occupation, the Kniefall carried profound emotional significance. It represented a genuine acknowledgement of German guilt and a sincere desire for forgiveness. The historical context of Brandt's visit to Warsaw is crucial to understanding the full impact of his actions. Poland had endured unimaginable suffering during World War II. Millions of its citizens, including a vast majority of its Jewish population, had been murdered by the Nazis. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, a symbol of Jewish resistance, had been brutally suppressed. The scars of these traumatic events were still raw, the memories still vivid in the minds of many Poles. Brandt's decision to kneel at the memorial, in the heart of Warsaw, was a deliberate and deeply symbolic act. He chose to confront the past directly, on Polish soil, in front of the world's press. He acknowledged the immense pain inflicted by Germany upon the Polish people. And he did so in a way that transcended mere words. The signing of the Treaty of Warsaw on the same day further solidified the message of reconciliation. By formally recognizing the Oder-Neisse line as the permanent border between Germany and Poland, Brandt signaled a willingness to accept the post-war territorial changes. This concession, while difficult for many Germans to accept, was a crucial step towards normalizing relations with Poland and other Eastern European countries. Brandt's Ostpolitik, of which the Kniefall and the Treaty of Warsaw were integral parts, was a bold and visionary approach to international relations. It aimed to overcome the divisions of the Cold War and build bridges between East and West. While not without its critics, Ostpolitik ultimately paved the way for a more peaceful and integrated Europe. The seeds of German reunification, which would occur 2 decades later, were sown in the fertile ground of reconciliation nurtured by Willy Brandt's courageous actions in Warsaw.